Have you ever really thought about how you experience the world, like moment to moment? Well, today, we're diving into a 2,500-year-old framework that's basically a map to your own reality. And it all kicks off with a pretty wild question.
What if your entire life, everything you see, hear, feel, and even think is literally on fire? It's a shocking idea, right? But believe it or not, this is the very thought that launched one of the deepest investigations into the human mind ever. So, let's get into it.
See, before he was the Buddha, he was more like an investigator. He wasn't interested in just believing things. He was trying to solve a very real, universal problem, suffering. And his whole investigation started with three basic questions about our own direct experience. First, he asked, what's the gratification? What's the enjoyable part we get from our senses? Think about that amazing first sip of coffee in the morning, or how good the sun feels on your skin. That's asado. It's the hook, the thing that keeps us coming back for more.
But then he flipped the question. What's the danger? Well, that beautiful sunset? It vanishes. The coffee gets cold. See, the pleasure we're always chasing is by its very nature unstable. And that constant chase can leave you feeling kind of uneasy, even disappointed. That's the hidden catch, the odd interval.
So this leads us to the most critical question of all. Kim nis saranam. If every single experience has this built-in pleasure and this built-in danger, is there an escape? Is there a way out? A path to find some real, lasting peace in the middle of all this change? This is the question that really drives everything else.
To even begin to answer those huge questions, the Buddha realized he needed a map. A map of, well, everything that can possibly be experienced. He had to draw the boundaries of his investigation, to define the whole of reality as we can actually know it.
And he called this map Sabam, which just means the all. Now, this is super important. The all isn't some abstract philosophy. It's a totally practical definition of reality. The rule is simple. If you can't experience it through your senses or your mind, it's outside the map. The Buddha was only concerned with what we can directly know for ourselves.
So what does this map of the all actually look like? It's surprisingly simple. You've got 6 internal senses, your eyes, ears, nose, and so on, including your mind, and then you have the 6 things they can sense: sights, sounds, smells, and thoughts. That's it. That's the whole shebang. Your entire universe of experience is right there in these 12 categories. This is the complete map of your reality.
Okay, so now we have our map. What did the Buddha actually find when he started observing these 12 channels of experience? He discovered that every single thing we could possibly experience, with 0 exceptions, has 3 fundamental characteristics or marks stamped right on it.
And here's the core logic. It flows like this. First, everything is anicca. It's impermanent. Sights change, sounds fade, thoughts just pop up and disappear. Now, because everything is always changing, trying to cling to any of it for lasting happiness is just stressful and ultimately unsatisfying. That's dukkha. And finally, if something is constantly changing and can't give you lasting satisfaction, how can it possibly be a stable, controllable self or yours? It can't. It's anatta, not self.
And this is the game-changing insight. When you truly see this logic playing out in your own moment-to-moment experience, you just naturally come to this conclusion. This isn't mine, this isn't me, this isn't myself. You just start to let go of that tight grip on the flow of experience.
This brings us full circle right back to that startling idea from the beginning. Now that we have the map and its key characteristics, the Buddha used this incredibly powerful metaphor to describe what it feels like to live in this world when you don't understand its true nature. The all is burning. Just let that sink in. Every single one of those 12 components we just mapped out, the eye and everything it sees, the ear and everything it hears, the mind and every single thought, it's all on fire. This isn't just a clever idea. It's meant to be a wake-up call.
But burning with what exactly? Not a literal fire, of course. It's burning with the internal fires raging in our own minds. The fire of greed, that constant wanting more of what we like. The fire of aversion, that pushing away and hating what we don't like. And the fire of delusion, that fundamental misunderstanding that sees things as permanent and satisfying when they just aren't.
So, if our entire world is on fire, what do we do? How do we put it out? Well, the solution isn't about getting rid of our senses. It's about changing our whole relationship to them. This is the path to cooling those flames. The path to freedom isn't something you force. It unfolds naturally. It all starts with yatha bhutam, just seeing things as they really are, impermanent and not self. When you see that clearly, it naturally leads to nibbida, this kind of disenchantment with the whole game of chasing pleasure.
That disenchantment then cools the fires of craving, leading to viraga, or dispassion. And from that cool-headedness comes vimutti, complete and total freedom.
So what's the end result of this whole path? It's the complete extinguishing of those fires of greed, aversion, and delusion. It is the end of suffering. As the text put it, birth is ended, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more for this state of being.
And so this ancient map brings us right back to a very personal, very modern question. If our entire field of experience is the potential fire, and our own reactive attention is the fuel that keeps it blazing, then the power to cool it all down lies in where we choose to place that attention, right here and right now. So what will you choose to see?